Now accessing mature or even borderline sensitive content means clearing biometric checkpoints, ID scans, selfies, credit cards. That's the new baseline for age verification in many places. But amongst all this chaos, millions are already finding a different way in. Age checks used to be for adult sites, but now they're on music platforms, forums, dating apps, and even social media feeds. Governments say it's about safety. Countries like the UK, France, and Australia are already enforcing these checks, with more regions joining in. But what it really means is handing over ID scans, credit card info, or a selfie just to access content that was wide open not long ago. The idea makes sense. Keep certain content away from kids. The problem relies on the implementation, as most systems rely on users handing over a lot of personal data to companies they've never heard of. Before getting into the how, let's make sure the setup is right. The most important thing is control over what you share, and that starts with where you're connecting from. First, get a VPN that actually does the job. You need one that actually changes your location, keeps zero logs, and doesn't fall apart when you load a video or refresh Reddit. There are a few that still hold up well. CyberGhost, for example, has stayed consistent across platforms that are now cracking down. And yeah, avoid the free VPNs. As they say, if it's free, your data's probably the product. Next, use a separate browser or even a separate device. This helps avoid old cookies or location-based data that might still point back to where you're actually browsing from. It's a small step, but it makes testing cleaner and keeps things compartmentalized if you're jumping between platforms. And finally, if the service you're trying to access happens to support an age verification tool like Yoti, that can help. It can offer a less invasive way to confirm your age without uploading your full ID directly to the site. But you'd still be uploading your ID to the age verification tool, which somewhat defeats the purpose. Still, while it won't show up everywhere, when it does, it's a potentially lighter way through. And if you're still figuring out which VPNs actually hold up, check out this review for CyberGhost VPN that are still solid even as platforms get stricter. Getting around age gates isn't complicated, but it does need a clean setup. Once everything's in place, here's how to use it right. Start by connecting to a region that doesn't take age checks to the extreme. You don't need a map of internet laws, but avoid regions with known restrictions, like the UK, France, or parts of the US. Instead, switch to a country where the platform's policies are still more relaxed. You'll know it worked if the site acts like it always used to. Now, don't jump in just yet. Browsers remember where you've been, so give yourself a blank slate, either by opening a private window or switching to a browser that doesn't have months of saved sessions and cookies hanging around. If it's a site you've already visited, clearing cookies and cache is worth doing anyway. Old data has a way of dragging old rules along with it. Once that's sorted, head to the platform, whether it's Reddit, a music app, or anything else that started pushing age gates. All of this adds up to a simple way to reduce how much personal info you're being asked to give. And that's the point. If you're also using a VPN for things like streaming, check out this other video that breaks down which VPNs still work with Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube without triggering errors every 5 minutes. Once you're through the gate, there are still a few things worth keeping in mind, especially if privacy is the goal. Start by avoiding logins, at least at first. Some platforms track more than just your age. They log device info, region, and even how your account was verified last time. If the platform lets you browse without signing in, take that route. It gives you a clear view of what's changed without instantly linking your session to your real identity. Also, skip autofill. Don't let your browser sneak in saved emails or passwords tied to your actual accounts. That kind of passive data can quietly reconnect your session to who you really are, even if the VPN is doing its job. And one more thing, don't leave tabs open or bounce between accounts mid-session. That's how things get tangled. Try to keep it lean, open what you need, check what you came for, and close it down. Minimal exposure means minimal footprint, and that's the right move. Things won't always go smoothly, it's just how platforms work now. If something's off, here's how to reset the flow. The age check is still showing up. Switch to another VPN server in a different country. One region might be locked down tighter than others. Some IP ranges get flagged more often, especially after traffic spikes. Page isn't loading or looks broken? Try wiping your cookies or cache. If that doesn't help, swap browsers. Sometimes the issue isn't your VPN, it might be leftover data getting in the way. Getting bounced into the app with no options? Stick to the browser and force desktop view. Apps don't always respect VPNs and tend to run more aggressive tracking under the hood. And if everything looks fine but just won't behave, step away and come back later. Platforms roll out silent changes all the time. What doesn't work now might be perfectly fine in an hour. It's all part of the game, and small tweaks go a long way. And if you're running into issues that just won't go away, check out this video covering the little settings most people forget, and it makes a real difference. The days of checking a box and moving on are long gone. Age verification now is a different game, with face scans, ID uploads, and credit card checks. More platforms are tightening the rules, and the pressure to overshare is real, but that doesn't mean privacy is off the table. With a trusted VPN, smart browsing habits, and minimal exposure, you can navigate these new checks without handing over your identity every time you hit play or scroll. This is about understanding how platforms work and using tools that give you more control over how much personal info you're really giving up. Because access to content shouldn't mean giving these services access to everything else. And there you have it. If this helped you cut through the new age checks, let us know in the comments. And if you want more guides on how to protect your data across everything from streaming to gaming, tap over to the WizCase channel and hit subscribe. There's also a video linked right here that gets into how VPNs really work and why some are safer than others. Worth a watch if privacy matters to you.